That's Toya.
And this is Tech Beats and Bytes.
We're about to get into it. He told us to introduce himself as the blood-sucking capitalist. That was his title, but we just gonna call him VC Vampire. That's what we'll call you, since you said, well, VC Vampire.
Right.
You guys may know him as the guy with 500 startups. We know him as a true superhero in the entrepreneur community. And we are going to bring to the stage, and he is here. Let's give a round of applause for Mr. Paul Singh. Let's give him a round of applause. So, Paul, one of the first things we want to go ahead and get into, because people know Twitter handles. 500 startup isn't the biggest thing you've done. That's not the end of it. So everybody knows you for 500 startups, where really we should be getting to know more about Results Junkies. Can you tell us a little bit about Results Junkies and how 500 startups became a part of that?
Sure. How much time do I have?
We are at...
I'm kidding.
We got 29 minutes, so you got 6 minutes to do this
Give us
part.
the abridged version.
Yeah.
All right, the abridged version. So
Yes.
fast forward, or go back, actually said rewind. I immigrated to the U.S. from a small country called India.
That little country,
place.
yeah.
And I moved to a little farm town in Virginia where this skin color was not normal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, long story short, I made patios and I sold cars. I still hold the record for cars at CarMax, I think, 34 cars a month. And anyway, I started selling cars in this little farm town, and these random people started showing
Hold
up.
on, did you say you set the record? You had the record at the time?
Yeah, I think like 20 years later, nobody sold that many cars.
Wow.
You just like breaking records from selling cars to 2,000
Right.
portfolio companies. You just
I'm like, but what's the mode? What's the secret sauce?
yeah, like
it's
how
gotta
did you
be
sell
something.
34? How did you? That's a car a day.
I think the key, and this is true of any sale, whether you're raising money or you're selling a
All
car.
right,
is
start
that-
taking notes, y'all. These were the key points.
Because we got stuff we selling.
Yeah,
so
we got
didn't know
stuff
the
we.
secret sauce.
They may not be listening, but we trying to make more money up here.
Right.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
So, but the key ultimately is it's not what you want, it's what the other person needs. Right? And so I know that sounds real simple, but it's super important. A lot of salespeople, I remember at the car dealership, people would be like, well, I need a sale because my manager is on my ass about this thing and I got to hit my quota. And I'd sit there and be like, well, I really don't want to mess around with this guy for 4 hours while he test drives everything. So I'd spend all my time getting to know the customer and saying, like, well, what do you want? Where are you driving? You know, what does your boss drive? What is
Different
what
approach.
does your family drive?
Yeah.
And use that to kind of hone in, and I could just kind of build that rapport. And
It's a good way to build a company too.
yeah, I think so, right? Because it's not about what you want; it's what the customer needs.
Okay, we cut you off, so we got
No,
that. We're
it's
gonna
okay.
take that note. So go back to the
so I was-
2,000 portfolio
Yeah,
companies.
so I'm like, I'm in a little farm town of 8,000 people. I'm selling cars, and it's a little farm town, dairy town, right? Pickup trucks, that sort of thing. And these new people started showing up. If you're from a small town, you kind of know that, like, you know everybody. And once you see somebody new, you're like, that guy is up to something, And so these people started showing up. And they were different. They would buy like $90,000 cars in cash in 15 minutes. So like I'd show up on a Wednesday at 5 and I'd sell a $90,000 Porsche by 6.
Wow.
And so I was like 17 at the time. I didn't have a whole lot of manners.
Hold on. You were
17
17 doing this?
It was a good job, man. I wanted to learn,
Obviously, but you were 17?
I wanted to learn how to drive stick shift, and the best way to learn how to drive stick shift
Was
was
to
have
have
a car
somebody
to
else's
do.
car.
Yeah, that's right. So I worked at the dealership.
Good
Yeah,
point.
that makes sense. Good.
So then
That's very strategic.
So these people would show up, and I didn't have a whole lot of tact. And so finally one day I was kind of like, yo, man, what do you do? How do you make that money? Like, whatever it is, I'm in.
Right.
Like I won't say a word. I don't know what it is, but I want it. Because like I was making 30 cents a brick and $150 a car. So at 17, that's good money, but it wasn't like
His
$90,000 good money.
You wasn't going to buy that Porsche like he was.
Right. And so I could barely make the payments on my Toyota 4Runner, I think, at the time. But anyway, the point is this guy says, well, I work at a startup called America Online. And I was like,
Hold on, as in AOL?
yeah.
Right.
And so here's the thing, and here's the
Yeah,
important
we're going to
thing.
need more than 30 minutes.
That's a flashback for
Yeah.
you,
Well,
for real.
And I'll respect
American Online.
I'll respect your all's time, but here's the key thing.
No, don't respect our time. We trying to learn. Just do what you
It's
talk.
fine.
I think
Ignore that timer right there.
Yeah,
Ignore
the
it.
timer don't matter right now. Just talk.
I think the important thing is that up until that point in my life, I thought the way you made money was that you traded your time for money, or you traded a thing for money. So I'll sell you this, and you pay me X.
Right.
Or I'll sell you, 5 hours of consulting, and you pay me Y.
Right.
And I remember walking into the office of America Online, I got it. Okay. And so I walked into the office
No,
at
that's
America
for me, 'cause
Online.
I need to make sure I can hear this in the follow-up.
Right.
And so it had, it was a small office, and it had these like those old, back in the 90s, they had those round, heavy TVs.
Yeah.
Yes,
Remember that?
yeah.
All right, so they had these TVs hanging up, and here's the point. First time I ever walked in, if anybody ever had an AOL account, you remember that you dialed in, so
Dial up,
your
yeah.
computer made that noise, and then it said, "You got mail."
Right.
So when it said "You got mail," what happens is there was to be a pin drop. There was a map of the U.S. on that screen, and it would start to show pin drops
wow.
of people logging in. And for me, at 17, the thing is, like, remember, I only thought you made money by trading time for money or a thing for money.
Service, yeah.
And all of a sudden, this internet thing, which I thought was a fad, my parents thought it was about, like, porn and whatever else is on the internet.
It
Right.
is,
Sounds like
but-
Bitcoin.
Yeah, and so I'm like, oh, so there is actual value there. And so anyway, I got to learn how to, I got a free internship there. I didn't even get paid. Like, I applied for a free summer internship. The point is from there, I ended up getting fired a few months later because I started running a side hustle where I was hosting people's websites.
I love it.
Hold on, you were boosting the website.
Look, Indian people, we're not good at very much. We're good at, like, math and spelling, right? And so, like, my options were very limited in school. So I was never going to be, like, on a cool football team or whatever, right?
Right,
So
right,
the
right.
next
You gotta
best
do
thing
what you're good at.
No, you know what I give? I give good keyboard. That's all I do. And so, like, I learned how to like set up servers.
Okay.
Nice.
I might never get invited back to this show.
Oh, no, we already going to have you back. We
Right.
need it. I'm thinking of how we do the follow-up show while you're here this week. Yeah.
So the thing is, so I started hosting people's websites, and over the next 6 years, built that into a pretty large company, data centers and all that in Ashburn,
Can you
Virginia.
tell us the name of that company?
Well, it was called Info Relay.
Okay.
And I worked with another guy to build that, and I kind of had my thing. We kind of kept our businesses a little bit separate. But the point is, though, is that, like, by the end of that time, we had about 50% of the world's internet traffic going through those 6 buildings that we were in.
50%.
50%.
So Ashburn, over the years, because of America Online, it spun off a lot of entrepreneurs because all of us, I think, and I can't speak for everybody, but I'm going to. I think for a lot of people that worked, we weren't founders of AOL, but we were lucky enough to see what it was
But you
like.
were in there in the beginning, so you saw it.
Yeah, and so, like, all these other companies spun off, All it takes is one founding team, one company to change one entire community.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, Ashburn became called Cashburn. It went from 8,000 people to 45,000 people. And I don't know if this is, like, a good or bad thing, but, like, my Washington Redskins moved there, and that's their home base. The only Ferrari and Lambo dealer in Northern Virginia and Maryland is in Ashburn today. And it's because, like, Steve Case couldn't put his office anywhere else. I mean, the dirt wasn't cheap enough anywhere else, so he put it in this small town. So anyway, after that, I sold out in 2004. I screwed around for a couple of years. That's a different story. And then I went to the White House as an entrepreneur in residence under the Obama administration for 2 years. And then anyway, fast forward even
Hold
more.
on, unpack one part, because it's something I like to talk about when we have a wide range. We have, my niece watches this. She's 10 years old. She watches the show every time we air it.
I should apologize.
No, you shouldn't. I'm her uncle. You definitely shouldn't apologize.
Right, she's good.
And then we have people in their 50s and 60s. You said you were in 6 years and you had your exit. Without being too specific, can you give us a range of what your exit was?
Whatever is 100 over 9 figures. What is that? 100? Is that
How many?
how many digits are? Yeah, it was over a 9-figure exit for us.
A 9-figure exit. So this is why I want to go back to that. And we're going to get back to your story. Just this.
And now I live in a trailer half the year, so that's the American dream,
That's because you're flying all the time.
Right, I was going to say, because you don't need a home.
You can wrap that how you need to. But
That's
this
living
is the
small.
part I don't get. So right now, you got to see AOL from the ground up. You had a website, or you had, a server company that was controlling 50% of the internet services, and I don't understand why there's not 300 people out here listening to you. But the reason why I'm saying this is because I want young kids to understand, and not trying to be funny, this is what money looks like. the portrayal of what we see on TV is not what money is.
Well, you know what the problem with startups today is that we've Hollywoodized it.
There
And
you
the
go.
reason why people don't want to listen to this stuff is that it's more fun to watch Shark Tank and pretend that if you meet the right guy wearing the right stupid ass shirt,
Right, you'll
get
get
your
lucky.
money. And that's not how it works.
Right.
Entrepreneurship is really about,
Get this man another beer. Just get him 3.
please.
I like that stupid ass shirt. That was
Stupid
funny.
ass shirt.
Right. And so
Yeah.
here's the thing, right? Is it like
Why is it
entrepreneurship-
always a douchey shirt though? It's like it's parallel. It's all the douche and the shirt, the douchey
Well,
shirt.
see the Venn diagram. It's all about Venn diagrams. Remember that?
It's always
you
got
just
it's
have
got
the
like the
douchey
extra
shirt
cuff
and you're
and
just
the
like-
extra
right,
collar.
Right. That
Yeah.
10 pitch, that 10 slide pitch deck. It's a package. It should be like a startup package.
I had to step in. I'm sorry.
No, that was a good. That was timeless. That was good.
Here's the thing: entrepreneurship is unsexy. It's unsexy, right? Because here's the thing: if you read the internet,
Real entrepreneurship is unsexy.
If you
yeah.
read the internet, it's about meeting the right person at the bar, and then it's gonna be like a rap video. Somebody's gonna rain money on you, and the next day you're driving like a Lambo or something. That's not how it works. You know,
Right.
what it is it's 5 days of glory and 360 days of shit, and it's not normally distributed.
was
So
good.
you don't actually know.
T-shirt.
Right?
Yep.
Tweetable.
Yeah, that's quotes.
But anyway, the thing is, though, is that like the message that I just want people to understand is that entrepreneurship is the price you pay for your freedom. And actually,
Yes.
let me tell you something funny about Miami, by the
This
way.
boy dropping bars.
I so agree with that.
I don't even know why you
Bars.
I don't even
Bars.
know why you guys let me in here because I'll probably get thrown out anyway. But
No, we just know we got it. We're filming you all week.
Here's
We're
the-
following you around. We'll be with you.
Here's the funny thing
You're
about
like a
Miami.
kindred spirit.
Yeah.
Here's the funny thing about Miami. Okay.
Just do the show with us. I'm sorry.
Deal. Let's do that. Okay.
Yes.
Don't hate me. This isn't an open carry state, right? You're not. Nobody's loaded here. No
Nah,
guns?
nah.
Okay.
I mean, we carry stupidity, but you're good. Say what you want to say. We got you covered.
Okay, here's the thing. Like, Miami is really funny to me because I've only come to Miami over the last 10 or 20 years on vacation. And, like, once or twice I came for, like, a quick work thing where I flew in at noon and I left at 6 or whatever.
Work.
Right? That's
With
what
an
they call
E.
it, right?
Work with an E.
That's
So,
Like twerk,
so
but different.
let's keep, his niece is watching, so.
it's all right. That's my niece.
But here's the thing, right? You know, in the 12 hours I've been here today, and so I'm going to be here all week. I brought a couple investor friends. So tonight, Ben from Fresno,
See? Again.
Raise
Fresno,
your hand.
California is here.
Money.
We've
This
got
is
another
what
family
money
office
looks like.
flying in tomorrow. We've got some more coming in. So anyway, the point is I want to bring a lot of investors with me to see what I see. But here's the funny thing about Miami. In the 12 hours I've been here, no less than 5 entrepreneurs per hour in the last 12 hours have said, it's so fucking hard in Miami. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, there's somebody that just drove by in a Ferrari a minute ago, and there's a Ducati dealership on the end of the block.
Yep.
Okay? Like, I've been to 94 cities in the last 18 months alone. If you can't run a business in Miami, moving is not going to help you.
Oh, shit.
Those are facts.
Wow.
Bars.
Hey, check this out. If you got a
That was
sensitive
real.
ego, I'm gonna advise you to just walk through the back. Don't even come through the. Jeez.
That was
Say that
real.
one more time. Just
That
say it
was
one
real.
more. Say it. Just say it just like that. One more time.
Well, I just
no,
think-
don't say
Don't
that shit.
sugarcoat it.
Say it.
Deliver straight.
Say it.
No chaser.
if you
Paul, say it.
if you can't build a business in Miami, moving's not going to help you.
Jesus.
That's good. That's good.
Hey.
Look.
I need that mic heavy. I need another drink. This beer ain't gonna cut it for the rest of this.
So, but here's the other thing. So, look, you're going to lose control of this real fast.
No,
so
go.
reel me in.
No.
It's
But
okay.
here's the thing, right? So, like, I'm going to give the entrepreneurs some shit, and I'm going to say you need to level up your game.
Right.
But for everybody else, for the community here, what I think we ought to do is stop celebrating false wins. Right?
Absolutely.
Oh,
Yep.
the people that come up here should not be the ones that raised money. It should be the people that got a sale. So, I mean, let me
Right,
ask you this: how
right.
many of you sold something this week? All right, get those people on stage.
Hey.
Because
I'll take the haze and I'll take it.
But
I'll
don't
take it.
but
Shit.
don't ask them the easy questions. The questions you got to ask them is specifically, how did you get that sale?
Right.
How did you do it? Right? Because here's what I believe. I believe that ambition is equally distributed around the world. I believe that cash is easier to get, not easy, but easier to get than ever.
Okay.
And I can show you public data to prove that. Right? The biggest thing that holds entrepreneurs back around the world, including Miami,
Y'all better quiet. Let's get this.
is function.
Hey, we need y'all to quit laughing. Go to the back. I'm trying to listen.
But the biggest thing holding entrepreneurs
Security.
back is functional expertise.
Right.
It's about how do you teach somebody how to use something like Shopify to create a web store? How do you teach somebody to use Facebook ads to get $1 of revenue, right? How do you teach somebody to I don't know, do their first sales agreement? It's that functional stuff, right? Everybody always wants to talk about the soft stuff. Well,
Right.
you know, like, what did you do? How did you do it? Whatever. Those are the soft questions. It's like, don't tell me what you remember. Tell me specifics.
Right, because that's where the meat of entrepreneurship is. It's in that functional
It's
stuff that
in
people try to avoid.
It's in that like shadow that like nobody wants to talk about because it's kind of unsexy.
Right.
Right. So like I can guarantee if I pull up any one of you that raised your hands when you got sales, the question I'd probably ask you is how many meetings did it take to get that sale? And you're not going to tell me one.
I heard 8 somewhere.
You know, and so like let's talk about that. What's it like to actually get turned down? You know, in our portfolio, the thing we talk about is direct sales. Like we invest in sales companies that happen to use technology. And I can tell you this. Here's the numbers. If you're starting out right now, if you want to make one sale, you got to start by doing 100 phone calls a day. Because this is how I did it, and this is how all of I think we have over 5,000 founders that we've funded across the planet now, right?
5,000
It's
founders.
all the same. You start out with 100 phone calls, 14 people will pick up the phone, 4 of them will schedule a meeting, only 3 will show up, and you sell 1.
Yeah,
And you do that every day.
it's a numbers game.
You do that every day, right? So like, party tonight, have a good time, but go sell some shit tomorrow.
Love that. Especially because, like I said, we up here, we got stuff we trying to sell.
Yeah, it's a
I'm
lot of
saying.
stuff. We selling everything from pizza to art. I mean, we selling it all.
Right.
We
Patent
in
pending hair
products.
comb for curly hair.
So
So,
now that I really know how you feel about Miami, and thank you for sugarcoating everything. What are some of the?
I feel like half the audience just left. They're like, fuck this guy.
they actually shut up and started paying attention.
right.
But you know what? It's funny you say that because
By your third beer, I'm much funnier and much better looking. So,
damn, that's my line. That's literally my line.
like, no Indian guy ever grew up was like the hottest guy in the room, right? So you need to drink more, right? No Indian guy was there. You never. None of the people. You never woke up. You're like, God, that Indian guy, man.
not even a Bollywood star.
I think it's one on like Instagram that's like kind of cut up. Or there's one. Y'all got one out there.
Those
it's always
Bollywood
one.
hunks and things.
Okay, this is the other funny thing about America, by the way. Okay,
Okay.
so all right, I'm going to talk as an immigrant. So English was not my first language. Okay.
Okay.
So when we came to this country, I didn't speak English. We didn't have a whole lot of money, right? And back then, for any of you that were immigrants, you know that in the 80s or whatever, immigration was a one-way ticket. I mean, I don't know how it was wherever you guys came from. The exchange rate is effectively 50 rupees to the dollar. So any plane ticket you took, which was an 8,000-mile ride one way,
Wow,
that was a one-way ticket, right? Anyway, so here's the thing. I'm like trying to learn English, and I learned as a kid that you get passed over. So getting picked on the kickball team in the neighborhood. First of all, I looked funny. I wasn't very muscular, so I wasn't getting picked anyway, and I talked funny, right? All right, this is going to sound kind of racist, but it's not racist because I'm saying it about other Indian people like me. Here's the thing I learned as a kid, right? Don't kill me. Nobody kill me. But
It's your truth.
when like a Swedish person learns English, you're like, oh, they sound smart, right? A Spaniard speaks English, and you're like, South American speaks English. You're like, oh, all right. Indian guy speaks English, and you either hand him your computer or you laugh a little bit. And I swear to God, I'm not making this up. I got passed over for so many things, like passed over like for the date, to the school dance, passed over for like the kickball team, passed over, and
Leanne, I owe you for this one. I owe you.
I gotta integrate faster. So I learned
Right.
English watching the A-Team. You remember that show, the A-Team?
Yes.
Yes.
Like, that was
Mr. T.
That was the best fucking show. Like, one day we should have Mr. T. I want Mr. T. Like,
Hey,
did?
you can afford it. The way our budget is set up, we can't do it. But if you want to pick up this show and buy us out, we can do whatever you want us to do.
You think I can afford it, but I'm still
All around the world.
I'm still that cheap, skinny, super cheap Indian guy.
That's
I'm
it.
not paying for that.
So you're pretty
Hence
much black.
living in
I
a
got-
trailer.
So, it's
you guys have lost control of this show, by the way. I'm
No,
just-
That's what you think. This
That's why
viewers.
we never give questions.
That's why we don't do questions.
It's all organic.
Well, what that
It's
structure?
all
I feel like the
organic.
Knight Foundation guys are like, what the hell are we having breakfast with that guy for tomorrow?
Nah, but if you have,
What about that van? Anybody remember that van? Like one day when I make it, I want that
Absolutely.
van.
You should
Best
make one.
GMC
Get a
van
replica.
ever.
Like a van like that is a creeper, shady van unless you put a spoiler on it, right? Then if you put a spoiler on it, it's
And
like,
the stripe. The
yeah.
stripe makes a difference.
You gotta have a back
Maybe.
window. You gotta have that bubble. You gotta
Right,
have the
the
bubble.
circle.
Yeah,
The
you
port.
gotta be able to
The
see
bubble
something,
window.
so you don't look like you gonna just harvest bodies and
Right.
That's the help me. They
traffic.
got me
yeah.
tied up window.
So, Paul, you have over 5,000 founders, 2,000 portfolio companies, and it seems like you said you have a
So
dedicated work ethic.
yeah, I mean, look, you know, okay. So first of all, we decided when we were going to start investing in companies 10 years ago that we wanted to invest everywhere else. So we weren't going to go to, like, I came from this little town and whatever, and so we just said, you know, and Dana, my better half, my wife, she's not here tonight, but by the way, like, tweet at her, tell her she's amazing. Tell her I look great. It's Dana Duncan, DC, on Twitter.
So I'm talking about plug the wifey.
What you guys, any of the married guys know, right? It's like any chance for other people to tell your wife you're amazing, take it, right? so anyway,
Noted.
noted,
Right.
right?
The compliments are golden.
Yeah, adulting is basically hoping that, you know, other people tell your wife that you're amazing. So,
Right. And it makes you feel good.
I'm just kidding, babe. You're amazing. She's gonna watch this. I know she will. But okay.
yes.
But here's the thing. We both came from small farm towns, right? And we decided that we were going to spend all of our time investing everywhere else. And so, you know, 10 years ago, we just started flying everywhere else. Here was our secret strategy. We live. I always tell people I do my taxes in Washington D.C., and I do my laundry there, but I'm on the road all the time. So from 2008 to 2015, I sat on an airplane, and I was investing in companies. And one of the things that people know us for is because I also ended up running into this other guy, Dave and Christine, and we were the first three founding partners of 500 startups. You know, and so I started Results Junkies 10 years ago. I got in with Dave and Christine, and we did 500 8 years ago. But we've kept going. So 500 is a separate entity from us. We co-invest a lot or whatever, but like even now I'm doing 3 to 4 deals a week, and all over the country. And our mission is to just go everywhere else. And so it sucks because from a family standpoint,
Yeah.
you know, we're in DC, but like I don't know what else to do because I hate the middleman. I don't know. It's just like I don't think.
Hold up. Does that mean Miami is a everywhere else kind of place when it comes to investment?
So here's the thing. I feel like I'm selling out by coming to Miami.
Really?
So,
Go.
so-
Let's have that
so
go.
here's
Yeah.
the thing, right? So from 2008 to 2015, I just got on the cheapest flight out of Dulles Airport every week. And so if you know that area, Dulles Airport is a United Airlines hub.
IAD?
IAD. And so I just take the cheapest flight every week and wherever it ends up. So for like $300, one week you'd be in New Delhi and the other week you'd be in Cincinnati. I mean, it's just, seriously, that's how it was, right?
So real random.
Yeah, I mean, that was a
Yeah.
crapshoot because,
That's
like,
dope.
I just like for those. I'm going to be around all week, and Ben's going to be around, and my buddy Ed's coming in tomorrow, and we're just meeting entrepreneurs, you know, for the next 96 hours or whatever. And the thing is, like, you'll learn really quickly that I'm going to spend 90% of my time with entrepreneurs because, like, that's what's important. I think the modern American city is going to be rebuilt by entrepreneurs. I think like.
But hold up. How do you feel you're selling out being in Miami?
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry. I have
don't
the
wanna
attention
miss that
span of a
part.
Circle back,
squirrel,
yeah.
right? I'm like kind of.
No, get back to
All right,
it.
No,
so,
it's okay, it's
So
okay.
here's the thing: so my town was like 8,000 people, went to like 45,000 people. You know, that it was that small little place. And when we started, so up until 2015, we flew, and by the end of 2015, I wanted to drive. There were two things that were a problem back then. I promise I'm getting to the point. By the end of so this is why I was saying. Remember, I was saying cash is easier to get than ever, not easy, but easier to get
Right.
than ever. All right. So there's this category of venture capital called micro venture, and it sounds ridiculous, right? But micro venture is basically anything smaller than $100 million, which is ridiculous that it's that big. But anyway, when I first started investing in this class, like the startups, you could count on one hand the number of micro venture firms in the country. And by the end of 2015, there were 640 just in the United States. So professionally, I started to see all these micro firms pop up. I mean, like you could probably count in Miami how many 10, 20, $30 million funds there are. They
Right.
probably feel inaccessible, but they didn't exist here 10 years ago. So by the end of 2015, there were a lot of firms, and I'm thinking, how do I differentiate? How do I get further away from the big airports? But personally, I had a 2-year-old who was potty training. Anybody with kids, you know, potty training. So I'm like, how am I going to like solve this? I need to get closer to the entrepreneur, further away from the big airports, and I got to have my family with me. And so I went to brown people. We don't do RVs. It's just a thing, right? We don't do RVs.
Yeah.
So, but I needed an RV. So I went to Airstream, if you know what that is.
Yeah.
Okay, so
It's swankier.
I went to Airstream and I was like, look, I need you to build this trailer around my daughter, my dog, and my wife.
Love it.
So it took them 4 months. We built a pretty sweet setup. And we decided we were going to leave Washington, D.C. So last March we left. And we decided we were going to go live in one new city every week, and we were going to prioritize cities that had less than 500,000 people in the metro area.
Oh, that's cool. You
And
should be on Tiny House Nation.
So now let me tell you why. So I feel like I'm selling out to Miami because it's such a big place.
Oh,
But there's
okay.
something you should know about Miami, right?
Tell us.
So here's how I found out I should come to Miami. So I'm driving around the country last year. I've done 50,000 miles in 18 months. This is my 94th city in 18 months.
Okay.
Okay? And I'm driving through St. Louis, and I park at the CIC building there because people told me I'm supposed to
Right.
meet this group called Venture Cafe last year.
Got it.
So I meet this guy, and I'm like, this guy, Travis Sheridan. Anyway, we get to like each other, hang out a lot. He's just a cool guy. And so over the course of a few months, he says, hey, by the way, I'm from a city called Fresno. You should check out Fresno. So I'm like, let's go to Fresno. So I meet Ben over there, the other guy that came into town. And I'm like hanging out there. And then as I'm talking to Travis over the next few months, he says, hey, Leanne's running Venture Cafe here. You should go there.
Leanne.
And that's the hook.
Yeah, so basically a guy I met in a trailer in St. Louis who happens to be from Fresno told me to come to Miami. And
here
that's
you
why,
are.
And that's why I'm here.
Oh, it's hard to say
Nice.
no to Leanne, so that makes sense that you're here, though.
But the
Yeah.
world's getting bigger and smaller at the same time.
It is,
time.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I think there's opportunity, by the way. I know we're running out of time, but I'll just tell you, like, for the entrepreneurs here, I'll say this, and then let's go whichever direction you want to go. But here's the thing. A lot of the conversation this today already has been about how do we educate more investors to invest in Miami. Mm-hmm. And I'm here to tell you, I don't think that's the right idea.
Oh, so what is the right
What is
idea?
it?
Because we have a lot of conversation about that topic.
Yeah.
See, here's the thing. Like, first of all, so investing is about two things. It's about returns and emotions. So if I'm investing for returns, I wouldn't invest in a startup. I'd invest in a building, or I'd invest in a restaurant, or I'd invest in something where I can see cash coming
Get
back.
into more real estate
right?
type.
Otherwise, I'm investing for emotions, and I gotta either be afraid of missing a deal, or I got to feel like a deal is going to return a lot of cash. But either way, it's emotion, right? Like if you ever want to get an investor to do a deal, this isn't just Miami, this is anywhere on the planet. Only two things work: fear of missing out or greed. And here's the thing, you can educate investors all you want and they will listen because I'm sure they're nice people, right? But the fact is, if you want to actually get more investors to loosen their wallets in Miami, you have to do the same thing we tell our entrepreneurs to do all over the world, which is to the entrepreneur, you level your game up. Don't be surprised if you start to create a pitch deck and start to talk like a founder that can attract the attention of an investor 500 miles away. Don't be surprised when the local angel group is like banging down your door trying to get in the deal. You will never be a big deal in your hometown. Like even when I go back to Ashburn, Virginia, I could be the president of the damn country. And they'd be like, yo, you made pizzas for me one time when you were 16.
Right, because they see you as you were.
Yeah, that's right?
Yeah.
It's just human behavior. So for the entrepreneurs here, like, let's just level it up. And actually, if you come to some of the other events this week, we're all about transparency. I'll tell you all the same URLs I tell my people to like look at. I'll tell you the same pitch decks they review, which videos to watch. I'm not convinced that entrepreneurship is easy to teach, but I think it's easy to learn. And I'm convinced that you all are all smart.
Yeah.
So
No, that's awesome.
I really want to do a quick six, but that was just...
right.
That-
I think we could do a little one. And then we'll do the follow-up because clearly
Yeah,
there's so much more to talk about.
it's-
I don't.
But-
I wish
Leanne,
we had
you did
asked
good
you
with this
earlier what you thought you were getting into, but that's a different conversation.
Leanne brought you to the table, so we kind of knew. And
Yeah.
Liza, they told us what to expect. So
Exactly. And like we said, it's
You're
all
just so
organic.
cool,
we just
though.
roll.
No, what?
You're cool though. You are the cool Indian dude. We can rock that. We can rock that.
So my mother. All right. So my mother.
Hold on, wait.
I think you need to do some stand-up. I think you need to do a little stand-up.
He's too
Comedy.
All right, so Paul, you walk into the office. You just closed a new deal. What's the theme music we listening to when you come into the office? What's in the background?
Oh, man. Okay, so now I'm blanking on the name, but you remember the intro to Ballers? The Lil Wayne song?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's on like repeat every time we.
It is very motivational. It gets you kind of hype. I don't know who that is, though.
It's Lil Wayne.
Drake.
No.
Oh,
It's Drake.
Drake.
Well, he would
It's
know.
a Drake record.
Yeah, DJ would know.
Lil Wayne's in there.
Yeah, he's on there, yeah, but it's a
Lil
Drake.
Wayne.
record.
Someday when I make it, I want to be like that Indian guy in the back of the rap video that's like coming out of the Bentley super slow.
Right.
But I don't
That
have enough tattoos or enough muscles to do it. So.
I think you could totally do it.
Hey, man, these rappers
you
are
totally do
investing
it.
now, so
That's
if
what I'm
they get a
Nas, Jay-Z, they all
Guru,
mess with it.
Jay-Z, there's about 5 big rappers that you know that are looking for fund managers right now to manage their money.
Oh, no, never work for anybody.
Next question.
So, because you have a wealth of knowledge, what book would you give to a young entrepreneur?
Yeah.
There's 2 books that you should buy. I'm changing your question. There's 2 books
Go.
you should buy, and if they're not worth $20, you email me. I'll send you $20, and we'll never talk again. But they changed my life. The first book.
Yo, that's so
Lifetime
savage.
guarantee.
I'm like your surrogate Indian father. You have to take all my advice.
I love that.
So there's 2 books you should get. The first is So Good They Can't Ignore You by Cal Newport.
So good they can't ignore you.
By Cal
Write it
Newport.
down, so
And the
it's
second one is called The Charisma Myth by Olivia Cabane. And if those 2 books aren't worth $20 of your time, I'll send it to you. I'll send you $20. But I'll tell you
they
those.
can never talk to you again after you send them that $20.
Oh yeah. Then we'll just blacklist you anyway. But the thing is that those 2 books, like, if you can't make an extra 100 grand a year just reading those 2 books, like, you're
Hey, I
hustling.
want that for Christmas. I ain't
what's
calling
up.
Paul for $20 because I got to pitch to him one day.
Right, that's
but-
a good Christmas
Okay.
gift.
What's the...
Repeat the books. They want the titles.
So Good They Can't Ignore You by Cal Newport, and The Charisma Myth by Olivia Cabane.
The Charisma Myth.
I know you've probably invested into about every industry possible, but
We just did a daycare last week.
Dude,
the baby
I'm saying.
business
We
is
did
real.
like tech stuff. I mean, everything's a tech company today, right?
Right.
Is there
Everything.
one industry or one product that you haven't tapped into that you would love to tap into if the right deal presented itself?
I think that's the wrong question to ask, respectfully. I think the right question to ask is where do you think the opportunity is for people and entrepreneurs over the next 5 years?
So that's what
Good.
I was going to ask you next.
Okay,
So what do you think?
because that's where because you said where I'm going to invest or where I want to invest.
Right,
And this is where I want to
opportunity.
invest.
Okay.
Give it to
Okay,
Tell us.
so the world right now is divided into offline and online.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Everybody's like, oh, that's an offline ice cream shop or an offline food truck, right? Or
They're
it's an
blending.
online website or whatever. I think the next 5 years, the intersection of the two, you're going to make a shitload of money. So if you can, for example, teach offline businesses how to use online tools, or vice versa, teach online companies how to reach offline customers,
Yeah.
that's where it's at.
Junction.
Right. Blending the
Plug.
space.
Plug. We got something for you. I ain't going to
Exactly.
present
I
it
feel
yet.
bad for whoever has to edit this, by the way.
Ain't nobody going to edit this. This is running. He's edited, but it's,
Right
it's
there,
running
right
raw.
there.
Go ahead, Toya.
You know, we asked for a beer and nobody brought a beer up.
Hey, can we get it?
I'm kidding. I'm
Lyndon.
kidding. Don't
no,
do that.
No, we ain't kidding. Hey,
So
Lynn,
look, speaking of beer,
hold on real quick. At the bar, can
Yo.
we get another beer up here? What you drinking?
Whatever the light beer
It looks
is.
kind of light. I need another 2 beers at
maybe
the
a
front,
pale
please.
ale or
I
something.
gotta watch
Thank
this
you.
figure, you know.
We got it coming to you, Paul.
Right. So besides beer, what is your drink of choice?
Yes.
Well, okay, so you can't really trust an Indian guy that doesn't drink whiskey,
Okay. Didn't know that.
but apparently it's an open bar, but not really open tonight. Night Foundation.
It's open for you.
Where's Leanne? She can
That's like getting invited to breakfast, but they're like, well, the ketchup's not included, or bring your own eggs.
25 cents for the ketchup pack.
You know, here's the sad part.
What kind of
sw-
whiskey, though?
I swear I'm never getting invited back. I
Yes, you-
usually carry a
Yeah.
flask with me, but I was like, oh, it's Miami.
What kind of whiskey,
So
though?
lately I've been putting Dalwhinnie. Well, it's Scotch, right? I'm putting Dalwhinnie in there.
Okay.
But I swear, I usually carry a flask with me.
Always prepared.
And then I was like, but I'm in Miami. And then
You should
sure
carry
enough,
a flask in Miami. Do you know how expensive drinks are down here?
Well, I heard it was an
Right.
open bar, but
Kind of.
I'm gonna call ahead next time.
It's open
Right.
till you buy 3.
So the way they bank account work right now.
Night Foundation, I'm kidding. I love you guys. Or whoever paid for the beer, I love you too.
Oh, that's not really. That's us.
They got you.
Your sponsors are getting pulled.
If
so
anything,
bad.
it's open bar for you.
All right, Toya, we got two more questions.
You have questions too? Go. Your turn.
Not yet. Let us close the show out. Hold on. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
there's two questions.
Two more hot.
I can guarantee one of them. Yes, I did shave this morning. This is no
comedy.
No? All right.
What was your what's been your most challenging business deal?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Share what you can. Share what you can.
Yeah. The hardest thing about investing everywhere else is like the local attorneys.
Interesting.
And okay, so
is that because they're not as educated on the content that they need to be educated on?
Yeah. I think what it is like, for example, we were finishing up a deal in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, probably 3 weeks ago now, and we're very big on transparency. So all of our term sheets, we use public, open source term sheets. Yeah. So 500 KISS, YC Safe, all standard stuff. Like I want no innovation on legal or finance, right? And anyway, we gave the term sheet out. One of the conditions of the term sheet is that there has to be vesting, stock vesting, which means that you earn your stock. Even if you're the founder, you earn it. Because I don't want to invest in your company. Excuse me. I don't want to invest in your company and then you run off with the money tomorrow, right? I want you to earn it over the next four years. Very standard term. Everybody's got it. That sort of thing. A deal that should have taken, we'll usually meet an entrepreneur and sign and fund it within 1 or 2 days. That deal took 3.5 weeks because the local lawyer, she was doing her job.
It takes people down here 3.5 weeks to show up to a meeting on time.
Yeah. That's everywhere, by the way. But ultimately, it was like she was used to like local real estate deals, local sort of like, brick and mortar deals.
Yeah,
this
so that
was
wasn't
different.
her wheelhouse.
Yeah,
it wasn't
she shouldn't
her
have been
wheelhouse.
there. Self-born, you want to close us out with one funny question?
Well, not so much funny. Well, tell me if it's funny. I want to know. Tell me an idea. Real quick, you know how you watch Shark Tank and every now and then you see that idea that it looks ridiculous and ends up being amazing. Tell me about an idea you thought might have been ridiculous, crazy, not work, whatever category you want to put it in, but it ended up being a winner.
What's the one you passed on?
I don't know. Here's the thing. Most successful things look like a toy at the beginning. So for example, this company we have in Sioux Falls, I can't give financial info, right, publicly, but I can tell you, let's just use this company in Sioux Falls, right? They're a daycare, for kids. That kind of daycare, right?
Real babies.
But
not virtual babies.
And I'll fast forward the story, but here's the thing. I invested in the team because I just loved the way they looked at the market. But now 4 months later, they're spinning off $60,000 a month in profit. Here's the thing. These two founders show up to a meeting, an event like this, and here was their pitch. Literally, this was their pitch. Their pitch was, how is it that after-school daycares that teach karate make so much money that they can pick up kids from school in a stretch Hummer, but a code camp for adults can barely put enough money gather enough money to put Snicker bars on the table in the middle of the day? And I was like, I don't fucking know. You're the entrepreneur. And he says, well, look, we're creating an after-school an after-school care program. Those little 2-hour, 3-hour after-school programs.
Right.
The difference is we don't teach karate or we don't do Montessori. We teach them how to use technology, from second grade all the way to 8th grade.
Nice.
And what was even more interesting I was like, I don't care. Tell me that you can do this. And they were like, well, look, we've already put out an email. And we've gotten, I think it was something like 30 families to pre-register their kids and pay something like $600 for the month to get in. How can you not invest in that? And sure enough, here we are 4 months later. And so I don't know if it's about doubt. You can't be in this industry without having some optimism. But the thing is, if somebody laughs at your idea, you should try it a little longer. But here's the other side of it. If you don't, and this is maybe a parting thought for all of you guys, if you have an idea in your head and you can't get to $1 of revenue from somebody you don't know within 30 days, move on. Because in our parents' generation, success was a function of how old you were. But in your generation, success will be a function of the number of things you try.
Love that. Because so many people have a fear of trying and failing.
That's great.
That's
I think
awesome.
that was almost a mic drop. Paul is going to be here all week.
All week.
Venture Cafe results junkies.
Thank you,
Find out where
Leanne.
he's going to be
Yes.
at.
Liza,
Leanne.
rest of the team.
I would advise you to go beg Liza and Leanne for any passes or access to this man.
Also, don't pitch me. Pitch Ben over there.
In other words,
Ben,
he's
raise
about
your
to.
hand. Where's Ben?
There's Ben right there. Look at him.
Yeah,
Hi,
'cause
Ben.
Paul about
Poster
to
boy
have
from
a good time.
California right there.
So that was amazing. So
Thank you for having me, you guys.
Absolutely, Paul. Thank you
it's
to
been
the
our
Knight
pleasure.
Foundation for sponsoring this. DJ Selfborn, world famous House to Mac,
Yep.
Digital Grass. We'll see you all next week. Thanks for coming out.
Here you go, Paul.